This is a class about the causes and consequences of mass incarceration and what we can do about it. Some of the root causes of mass incarceration might be centuries old, but the actual fact of mass incarceration, that is a new problem. You probably know these stats by now. The United States incarcerates more people than any other country in the world. The vast majority of them are in state prisons and local jails. I decided I wanted to do a class on mass incarceration, and then I thought I should probably go to prison if I was going to teach this class.
What your parents say when they find out you want to come to prison?
They said it sounded cool.
All right?
Yeah.
Usually the mom is like, what if they kidnap you? Like,
Yeah.
And Johnson reflects on his whatever. Look, this means this. It was like...
There's a lot. I was invited to come inside and join a group of prisoners who were trying to find ways to make amends for the crimes they had committed. And I just thought what they were doing was so inspired because they were working to be the best people they could be under really severe circumstances. Sterling, you're gonna lead off with an icebreaker.
If you're a cat person, on this side of the room, if you're a dog person, on this side of the room. You gotta choose. There's no iguana people.
Sterling was actually conducting the Restorative Justice group. I said I'd like to be able to bring some students in, teaching a class that would be a combined Willamette student and prisoners. Sterling thought it was very important to bring men to the class who were still engaged in violence, but maybe were trying to transform. The book that we're reading was written by Danielle Sered. She's the founder of Common Justice, which is a Brooklyn, New York-based organization that seeks to address violence without using incarceration. So the class is a kind of ongoing conversation about what transformation can be.
Like my dad tells me, he grew up in the 50s, and it was shameful to be Native American.
Many of the men who take my class have unhealed trauma, childhood trauma, adolescent trauma, and or didn't really develop the skills they need to be able to heal from that.
Next thing you know, me and him fist fighting and punching each other in the face behind a little disagreement. And when you ask us why we did it, it's like, I couldn't let him disrespect me as a man.
They're swimming against an environment where you can't show weakness, you can't show any vulnerability, you can't express emotions unless your emotions are anger.
It's like violence is expected of you. It's not only encouraged, but it's expected. And if you aren't violent, then you're at the bottom of the totem pole, you know. When I get triggered certain ways, my first instinct is still be violent, you know, and then I have to curb it. Like, no, wait, that's not, let's do something else, you know. So I think
Cameron took my class a while ago, and he was someone who was just on the edge of thinking about alternatives to violence, and that was kind of a new idea for him. And he, after my class, ended up in a fight, getting sent to the hole and then to another prison. He came back with a kind of newfound commitment to being engaged. He's really all in.
What was some of the thoughts where she talks about how these problems are compounded by limited and broken ideas of manhood?
I think of Sterling as my co-pilot in this class, or I'm his co-pilot. I'm not sure which way it goes sometimes, because he's taught me so much.
And I will just start calling on people.
For Sterling, it's about relationship building. If you want to teach, that requires that you connect with other people, and he has a strong sense of how important that connection and relationships are. And I watch him forge those relationships with people who are incarcerated with him, but he does it with Willamette students too.
Are you open to some advice with it? Slow down. Give people time to think about what it is you're saying.
Before I met Sterling, if someone had told me his story, I would have had a hard time understanding that he really could be a different person, that he could be the person that he is. In fact, it's not just Sterling, it's a number of men that I've met inside that have committed violent crimes at a very young age. And they are different people. They have different values, they have different skill sets, they have just completely different outlooks on life. You have to see it, you have to be in relationship with people who have made that kind of transformation, I think, to really fully believe it.